find out how close you are to becoming a successful trader. Okay, you guys have been trying to trade for a while now, and many times it happens that you get stuck somewhere, you are not sure what is happening, where to go, and what happens is it leads to a lot of confusion and self-doubt. And also when you're starting out as a trader, obviously there are going to be losses. Okay, and often what happens is these losses, they create a lot of pressure, and that leads to again hampered confidence, and that is never good for trading success. So today's topic is to find out how close you are to becoming a successful trader. And what we are going to do is we are going to use the trader development spectrum for that, and we are also going to see how you can do it without feeling guilty for your old losses, right? Okay, you are listening to me today because of the following things. First and foremost, let me make it clear that I too have struggled with this thing in the past. And if you are struggling right now, then please make it clear in your mind that it is not your fault. Okay, lot of traders end up blaming themselves. It's a very bad habit. We keep beating ourselves up for all the mistakes that we make in the markets. But please understand that the markets were designed for majority of the people to make mistakes, right? So don't blame yourself. Okay, if you have struggled in the past, if you have made some losses in the past, please understand that it's not your fault, and you would want to change this behavior, right? Okay, also believe that you can do this. If you want to make money in the markets, please understand that you can make money in the markets. And if you are there is a constant fear when you're just starting out. I'm just telling it from my own experience, and that fear is that I may not succeed, I may not make it as a trader in the markets, right? It's a very competitive business, and a lot of time this self-doubt, it just eats you from inside. So just throw that fear out of your mind, and let me explain to you how you can actually become a successful trader, right? Then you need to understand that trading does not lie in an indicator or a specific technique. All right, so if you have been searching for that one indicator that is going to change your trading forever, or just madly searching for that one technique that is going to change your trading forever, that is going to make you a profitable trader overnight, please understand this is not going to happen. There were some people who told you this throughout your trading career, and they did this because they wanted to benefit from it. All right, so that is not the way this thing works, right? And the reason I'm sharing this with you is I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. Many people, they just get stuck in that cycle of repeating the same mistakes again and again, right? So I don't want you to just keep reinventing the wheel. Just come in to the morning on each trading day and just do the same mistakes, same struggle again and again, and just don't go anywhere, just don't make any progress at the end of the day, right? So but one thing I must tell you is that just by knowing what I'm going to tell you today is not going to make you successful. You have to put in the hard work, right? At the end of the day, it is the amount of work and efforts you put in that are going to make you a successful trader, right? I hope you get this point. Okay, so are you finally ready to start this journey? Okay, if you want to become a consistent, profitable trader, please believe that you can. And let us start. Let me take you on this journey as to how you can become a consistently profitable trader. Okay, so what are the goals for this presentation? Okay, so if you are a beginner, right, there are different types of traders in this room. It's almost like 80 plus people in this room right now. Okay, and all of you are, you know, different types of traders at different stages of your journey. So if you are just starting out, if you are just a beginner, you might feel that, okay, is this really for me? You know, can I actually understand this? Well, the one thing that you will get out of this presentation is that you will instantly find out what you're doing wrong and the things that you need to avoid like a plague. Okay, sounds helpful? So if you're a beginner and if you just can make out what things you are not supposed to do, I think that is really helpful, right? Okay, if you have been trading for a while, so you're not a beginner, you have been trading for a while, and you are coming to this presentation, then you will immediately see the things that you are giving undue importance to. What happens is that you have got a limited amount of time, right? The market is not open for you forever. It is open for a limited amount of time, and in that limited time, the opportunities that are available, they don't stay forever, right? How many times has this happened that you come into the markets and you are expecting the market to go up, you get a pullback in the markets and you had decided previously that you were going to buy, but you just could not pull the trigger. The pullback happened and the prices shot right up and you missed the trade. The reason this is happening is because you might be looking at a incorrect piece of information, an incorrect tool or incorrect thing, and that is what is actually hindering your progress. So we'll find out what things you need to avoid giving importance to, right? And lastly, if you're kind of successful trader, you're just here to find out how much I know, that's already you're most welcome. But don't worry, even you guys can, you know, take out something out of this one. You will be able to find out a few things which you may not have understood so far, you know, articulated them. You don't know them consciously. You are successful because you're doing them subconsciously, but you don't know them consciously, and you need to define them. Even beginners and you know, advanced beginners who have been trading for a while will find this thing important. You will be able to define what you need to do and spend more amount of time doing it, right? That will make you even more successful, right? So just, you know, I've just made one presentation, and if this presentation can answer queries of all you traders at different stages of your journey, I think it's a great thing, and I hope you agree that this can be helpful to you, right? So let us move on. Okay, so the most important thing that you need to remember, the only way you can make any progress is by knowing where you are at the present and knowing where you want to go. This is a statement by a famous personality, Dean. Wait, that is me actually. So, you know, why is this important? Everybody in this particular presentation room is very clear on one thing, that they want to become a profitable trader, a consistently profitable trader. They want to keep money, you know, making money day in and day out, week in and week out, every month, month over month, throughout the year. So we all know what our goal is, where our destination lies. But the important thing to remember is that you don't know where you are at this particular moment, right? So this trader development spectrum that I am talking about, what it is going to do is it's going to help you find out where you are right now, and then it will tell you where exactly you lie on the whole spectrum, from a newbie to the expert to the you know, master trader. And then you can take appropriate steps to reach to that master level wherever you are on this particular spectrum. So I'm very excited for this. You know, I'm excited to actually have discovered this and want to actually have put it in a nice table, in a easily understandable form, and I'm very excited to share this with you. I hope you are too. So let's start. Okay, so where I am at the present moment, this is the question you want to ask yourself too. So let me first tell you where I am today. So I have been trading for last 13 years. You all know that. Most of you have been in my earlier presentations too. And one thing I'm not going to hide is that I have struggled with almost everything related to trading. All right. Whatever you are finding hard to crack in your own trading right now, please understand that I have struggled with it at some point in time in my trading journey. So I'm not some, super trader who knows what to do at all times, but I am very similar to you. I have been through that journey. Some of you might be trading for last 5 years. Some of you might be trading for last 10 years. Some of you might have trading experience more than me. But at some point of that whole spectrum, you are stuck. You are not able to progress, right? And that was the same for me. It was no different. But what I did was I kept learning. I kept talking to a lot of mentors throughout my career. I kept reading, thousands of books on trading as well as other than trading, mind development, self-development, all those trading psychology, all those books I kept reading. I kept watching a lot of videos. There are a lot of videos available on YouTube. I have my own channel also where you can find 200 plus videos, right? So there are many people who are sharing these videos. Then there are many great mentors who are conducting webinars. You are in one now. Vinod has been instrumental in conducting, pulling in a lot of mentors and making them conduct useful webinars for you. So I know that you have been doing that also, and if you are not, you can start doing it from this one. And I have been doing a few courses also. It's never a bad thing to learn from someone who knows at least one thing better than you. All right, he may not be the biggest expert in that industry, in markets, he may not be the best trader, but if he knows at least a few things better than you, you have to make that investment of time into that to learn from that person, right? So over the years, all this that I have been doing has worked and has helped me see things clearly. All right, so this is my position in the spectrum, right? And what I want to do is today I want to share this with you, whatever I have learned with you, so that you can find your position on the spectrum and then start taking efforts towards becoming a master trader, right? So let's move on. Okay, so this is not my story per se, all right? I'm not going to bore you with what happened with my life over the past 13 years, but this is the progress, right? This is the journey which every trader takes. And why I'm sharing this with you is because it is going to help you find out where you are and where you want to go, right? So what is that? I started out like you all. I've just been saying that for last few minutes. And the only desire I had was to make a truckload of money. Now, every trader wants to make a lot of money, all right? And okay, I mean, why else are we here, trading in the most competitive industry? Why are we wasting our efforts, giving so much time? Because we want to make a lot of money. Now, why do we want to make a lot of money? That is an important question. Everybody has a different answer to that. And I encourage you to ask yourself that. Okay, you want to make a lot of money, but why? And when I asked myself, the why, a lot of times, I came out with an answer, and that was I wanted to be in complete control of my time. So if I did not want to trade today, I should have that control. If I did not want to go to that job and put in 12 hours of work, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be in control of my time. I wanted to spend my time with my family, with my friends, and doing the one thing that I love the most, and that is trading, right? And I'm very sure all of you want that. You might want 100 other things, but this is an important thing that all of you want. Am I right? Let's move on. So while this was an uphill battle, right? It was not very easy for me. I did not start making money from the first day of my trading. I lost a lot of money, and all that frustration, of losing money, had resulted in two things. I had a lot of self-doubt built in me over the years. And I was really confused. Okay, I was confused. I did not know where to go, what to do, and I was facing a lot of problems, right? And all this was just building my self-doubt and confusion. And despite reading hundreds of books and watching videos, I somehow could not figure out what exactly I was doing wrong. And then one day, putting in all this work day in and day out, coming into trading, making losses, sometimes making profits and all that frustration, one day it clicked to me that, okay, I want to become the most successful trader in the world. I want to make, as much money as I can. But where I am right now, how good am I right now? What are the steps I have to take to get to where I want? If I want to become a profitable trader, and this is my current stage right now, unless and until I find out where I am right now, I cannot go to my goal, right? And I am sure you all have taken a cab one point in time or other. Maybe it was in old days when you had to take an auto or a cycle rickshaw, whatever. But in today's age, we book a Uber cab, right? And Uber understands this. Whenever you book a cab, you have to give them two important pieces of information. First, where are you going to start your journey from? And second, what is your destination? Unless and until you are sure on these two things, all that struggle is going to feel empty. All the efforts you put in, it's not going to lead you anywhere. Just imagine, like, you call in a cab and you tell him that, okay, I want to go to such and such place, but you don't tell them where they are supposed to pick you up. Will that cab be able to carry you to your destination? Well, I'm at a loss for words to describe this situation. The cab person will just cancel the booking and move on to something else. In fact, the app will not let you book a cab without giving you your destination. So it is same with trading. You have to find out where you are right now, and then only you will be able to reach where you want to go. Okay, and then what I did was I started assessing where I was, and this is a few years back, this is like 10 years back. Okay, and all I could think of was indicators and techniques, because that is exactly what I was using then. And what I did was, okay, I was using stochastic indicator. Oh no, I must use RSI. I jumped from one indicator to another. And maybe I was using traditional chart patterns, using triangles, channels, wedges and all those things. I moved on to some other technique. Maybe I started using price action. Maybe I started using Elliott. And again, what happened was the success was not there. I again hit the wall. And I am sure all of you can relate to this. No matter how much effort you put in, you just end up hitting a wall and not going anywhere. All right. So what happened? I already had left my job. I had committed to become a full-time trader, so there was no going back. I was at this point of no return, and I thought that if I gave all my energy, all my time to this, things would become easier, but they become even more difficult, because I did not know where I was. I did not know where I wanted to go. So just having that vague goal in my mind to make as much money as I can, that is not the answer. That is not what is going to help you become the kind of trader you want to become. Understand? But then you keep working. Whenever you hit a wall, what you do? You don't turn back and start walking in the opposite direction. You keep hitting that wall till it falls down. And I also did the same thing. And slowly I started finding my feet in this business. And sooner I was able to cross to the other side. And this journey has helped me shape this trader development spectrum. It was not one day that gave me this idea that, okay, there is a spectrum and you're going to go from one point to another. It was not like that. It was endless struggle of last 13 years, which has helped me crystallize this concept. And now I can just ready-made give you this concept, and you can start using it from today itself. Just imagine, how much time it can save you, right? Now, it might not make you some magical trader where you make money while you sleep. It's not like that, but it will give you a clarity of where to focus, which path to select. If you are, at a Y point in your trading, you will be able to make that decision. Okay, I'm not going to go in this direction. I'm going to select the right one. And you guys have been trading. You are putting in a lot of effort. I'm sure you guys are. But in most of the situations, all you need is that slight clarity of focus and that slight nudge towards the right path. And this trader development spectrum that I have developed, this concept that I have developed, is just going to help you do that. Okay. And what happened with me as I started crossing over to the other side, I found that my self-doubt was cured. It did not mean that I made all the profitable trades. Every trade of mine was not profitable, but I was not doubting myself when I thought that the market is going to go up and I should buy, or the market is going to go down, I should sell. I stopped doubting myself. I started believing in my plans. And when the reality of the markets changed, as in the market was trending up and now it consolidated, it might have started trending down. Earlier, I used to find believing that very tough. I used to just keep buying all the pullbacks and kept losing money. But now what happens is that as the reality of the market changes, the condition of the market changes, I am flexible to change my view on the markets. How important is that, you tell me? Market is consolidating. You are just buying every pullback hoping that it will break out, or selling every rally hoping that it will break down. But it is consolidating. It will consolidate till its business there is finished. Until that time, you either have to sit aside or patiently wait for the markets to develop further. But if you don't do that, if you just go on putting in trade after trade, and your stop losses are getting hit in that volatility of that consolidation, you guys tell me, is it really helpful? And when I was able to change my view with the markets, with the changing market conditions, the one thing that started happening was my confusion slowly started melting. That is a very nice feeling. Let me tell you, you come into the markets, you are confident what the market is going to do. You are confident in what you are going to do when the market does its thing. This is a nice feeling, guys. I cannot emphasize enough. If you have no self-doubt and no confusion, the trader you are going to be will be, out of this world, something else. You might not make $1 million in a day, but if you are losing money, you will stop losing money. If you are making small amounts, you will start making larger amounts. And this is a journey, right? It's not a light switch where you switch it on and the light glows. It's not like that. It's not digital. It's an analog journey. It is going to happen over a period of time. But the only thing that you have to be very sure about is the direction you are moving, right? Now let us get to the trader development spectrum. Okay, at the outset, this might seem a very simple thing, okay? But the more amount of time you spend on this particular table, the more things will start jumping out to you, all right? And the more you will start believing that there is a possibility that you can get to this right edge of this chart. This is kind of a trend in the market. So you start low, but you will end up high. All right. So let us explore quickly what these stages are. There are 6 in total. The first is the newbie. Second is the beginner. Third is the advanced beginner. Then you have proficient, then you have expert, and then you have the mastery stage. Now, Jim Dalton in his book Mind Over Markets has got something similar going on, all right, but he has got that in context of market profile. I am trying to apply a similar model but to the whole trader development process, all right. So if you are a newbie, what are you doing? That is an important question, right? So if you are a newbie, you spend most of your time listening to news, gossiping with your friends about the markets. Maybe someone in your office, someone in your group is trading and he comes and tells you all these stories. I made this much money, I lost this much money. You get intrigued and you start listening to him. And maybe you browse the internet. A few years back, browsing the internet was not that big on fashion, but today everybody, first thing they do is they go onto the internet. And that has, you know, put the old method of reading books on the back burner, but still there are people who are reading books. But what books are you reading? That's an important thing. Even if you're reading the best book, and that I believe is Reminiscences of the Stock Operator, that is the best book a trader can read. But what happens is I have read it like 100 times, okay, and I'm not exaggerating here. I actually have read it 100 times, okay. And what is happening here is that every time you read it, something new comes out to you. The book is not changing. What is changing is your understanding of the markets, all right? So even if you're reading the best book and you're a newbie, it is not going to help because your understanding is not up to the mark. Then you go to the beginner stage. So you still keep doing all these things, but you start trading. And then, you know, unfortunately, this is the time when you fall prey to the trading tips, the money managers, all the websites that say that you join us and make money, make this much money, that much money. I will give you trade calls and all that stuff you get caught into. No, I have been there. I have paid for those, you know, services which give me tips. I have joined some people who give trades. I have done all that and I have paid the price, right? It does not help. Then obviously, some of you might have been in these couple of stages, beginning stages, and you might have moved on in your trading. Somebody might be still in this particular 2 stages, and I have marked them red because no way in the whole world are you going to become a successful trader if you stay in these 2 categories. All right, so you have to move on. Then if you have or if you haven't, but the next stage is advanced beginner. And I'm saying all this means all that is there in the previous stages. Now if you are an advanced beginner, all this does not mean that you will be relying on tips or money managers, or you'll be gossiping about markets with your friends, or you'll be watching the news. Let me tell you guys, I have said this so many times, over the past decade, I have not seen the CNBC news channel even once. I believe that was the best one because I don't even know what are the channels there are available, right? So you're not going to do all these bad stuff. You actually have realized the futility of that and you are moving on to something better, right? So you will be doing more trading, obviously. The more you trade, the more you know, experience you get, the more things you learn. But what you will be relying on, mostly traditional technical analysis, black box systems, guys. How many of you are still looking for a system which gives you the buy and sell indicators and, you know, help you take some great decisions in the markets? Stop looking for that. It's not there. You run into indicators. You start using RSI. Somebody comes and tells you that, oh, you're using RSI. RSI is no good. Start using MACD. If you're using a simple moving average, someone comes in and tells you that, okay, stop using simple moving average, start using exponential moving average. What is happening here? You're still an advanced beginner. You are not out of the woods yet, right? And what are you trading? That is another important question. When you are a newbie or a beginner, you basically don't know what you are going to trade. But when you are an advanced beginner, you know that you can trade in cash segment or you can trade in options. And why I have excluded futures is because most of the times when you're in this stage, your capital is not permitting you to put in future trades. Somebody tells you that, oh, you only have to pay a small amount of money to buy options and you get the payoff of the future, right? You get a lot of leverage and you get excited and you start using options. How many accounts have blown up because they have used options incorrectly? I know one account for sure, and that was mine. Then you still keep moving on, and then you realize that it's not the indicators, it's not the way you trade, it's not the techniques, it's not the instrument you are trading. It is the focus on self and focus on risk. That is the transition, guys. I'm not telling you something new. But if you are focusing on yourself as a trader and you're focusing on the risk and how to manage that, please understand you are in the proficient stage. That does not mean that you are making money. You might be making it today, tomorrow, in days to come, but you are there. And usually what happens is that by the time you have spent all this money and time in this and understood that it is you that you have to focus on, it is the risk management that is most important thing, you also have progressed to some advanced indicators and systems. Now I use market profile, everybody knows that. I talk about VSA, I talk about order flow, and you guys also will start using this. Most of you here know that I use market profile. You know that we know the Bell TPO provides market profile softwares, and you are here, so you are exposed to that particular thing. But if you are not, you understand that when you are in this particular stage, you will be using some advanced technical analysis, advanced indicators and systems. All right, and the instruments might include futures, because you know that if you want to manage risk, you need certain amount of capital in your account. And if you have well capitalized account, you can go in for futures trades. All right. Again, you move on. And this time you realize that whatever focus you were putting on yourself and risk management is not sufficient. Everybody knows that you have to risk a certain amount of capital on each trade. But how many of you really dive deep into risk management? How many of you have read Van Tharp's book on position sizing and risk management? It's the most complicated thing in the world. But if you haven't read that, you are not serious about managing risk. That is the way this whole spectrum, opens up. As you start taking each step up, new things will start opening up to you. You will understand that the amount of efforts and time you were spending on these things is not sufficient. You may take a step back from what system you are using. You might not focus more on market profile charts or how to read them better, but you might go on and read that book or start exploring the risk management strategies. You will start focusing on yourself. It is okay, you are managing risk, you can use market profile, but what are you doing? When in the heat of the moment, are you taking the right decisions? Are you avoiding the mistakes? All this you have to focus on. And by this time, if you have been putting in all this work, you have a set trading system. You have tailored strategies. Okay, market has gapped up. I am going to do this, not this. Today is RBI announcement day. I am going to do this, and I'm going to avoid all these things. All this you have now set, and all you have to do is follow your plan. You can use any instrument you want, but then two more things crop up. Even after doing all this, you find that knowing is not enough. Executing your plan is of the utmost importance now. You know how to manage risk. You know what you do when the markets get hot. You have a set trading system, but the execution of that system is what is going to help you take your trading to the next level. If you are making 100,000 rupees in a month, it will take you to 1 million. If last year you made 50 lakh rupees, it will take you to 5 crores the next. That is the power of execution. And how will you do that? By monitoring and refining your thought process. Nobody has told you that. Everybody tells you to manage the risk. Everybody tells you to focus on yourself. But what exactly does that mean? It is about monitoring our own thoughts. 99% of unsuccessful traders sabotage their trading themselves by saying or using language that does not help you, by using thought process, words that does not help you. So it is an important aspect that you have to focus on. And then if you do all this, it might take a decade or so, you move on to trading mastery. And when you are a master trader, what you have is a complete control on your execution. Your execution is flawless. That, please understand, that does not mean you are going to make all the trades as profitable trades. You are going to make money on all trades. No. Your execution will be flawless, and if the market supports, you will end up making money. If the market does not support, your stop loss will be hit, your risk will be within limits, and you will only be paying the markets which that much amount which is a legitimate business expense. Make sense? Your thought process will be completely refined. If you make a loss today, you won't blame yourself. You know that this is a part and parcel of the game. And lastly, I like to use this concept called as Kaizen. It's a Japanese concept. It's related to quality. Kaizen means continuous improvement. Anybody who's been an engineer or in the corporate world, they knows this stuff. So you keep improving yourself continuously, every day, each trade, each month, each week. You keep improving yourself. That is how this whole trader development spectrum opens up. I hope it makes sense, right? It's just not this stable, right? There are so many elements inside that are going to be described that you will need more information on. And the most important thing is, how is this going to benefit you, right? Now I've been saying that, but let me just go through it again. When I started using this trader development spectrum, I was not using it consciously. But when I realized that it is structured in a certain way, I was able to reduce confusion, right? Let me tell you a short story about me again. I started out using traditional technical analysis. I was using the triangle pattern and head and shoulders and all those things. Did not work. Does that mean it was bad? Not at all. I was bad. Then I moved on to Elliott wave. Again, for 5-6 years, I did Elliott wave. I was very good. I had a blog. People followed me. They were making money from my suggestions, but I was not able to make that much amount of money. The reason, again, I was developing. And then I finally settled with market profile. But the reason for jumping around was I was looking for the answers to my questions at wrong places. No matter how much good or better I become at market profile, I'm not going to make money if I am not managing my risk properly. No matter how good an Elliottian I become, I won't be successful if my thought process is screwed up. Basically, I was barking up the wrong tree all this while. All right. But when I started using this TDS, I found that it's not only about the tools you use, right? But then I understood slowly that I have to focus on risk management. I have to focus on myself. And finally, I have to refine. Actually, I have to work a lot on my thought process. No matter how much I worked on technical analysis, I have worked more on my thought process. I always keep saying this to my son, that and even my wife, that the amount of books I have read in my education career, put together does not come close to even 10% of the books I have read after that. So if I have read like 1,000 books during my education career, it's not 1,000, but whatever the textbooks I'm including, I may have read 10,000 books, PDFs, reports, videos, blog posts, everything. Combine it, I've read more than 10,000. And that whole focus on technical analysis, if I've spent X amount of time and energy on technical analysis, I had to spend 10 times of that to improve my thought process. So please understand, guys, why it is at the right edge of that trader development spectrum is because it is difficult. It's not easy. I am going to help you with that. It's not easy, right? And it's not going to happen in one single presentation. But once I started doing this, I saw myself, I could see myself pull up the trader development spectrum slowly but surely. Obviously, I'm not at the master stage, obviously no. But right now I know where I am, what I have to do to, move on to the next stage. But at least I know, even if I have to go a long way, I am on the right track. That is the most important thing. So if you are thinking right now, I am a newbie, will this benefit me? Yes, it will. Because I was a newbie when I started, right? And throughout years of struggle, I realized that what I know now, if somebody had given me this particular framework 10 years back, my progress would have been much faster. I'm not at all counting the amount of money I would have saved, the amount of losses I could have saved. I could be driving a Benz right now, if I just total all my losses. I could buy a nice Mercedes Benz out there, right? And if you are thinking like, will I be able to understand this model? Yes, it's not difficult. It's extremely simple, but just articulated well. But it does not mean that I know the Dean's trader development spectrum. Now I am going to become the best trader. No, it's not a cakewalk. Please understand. You have to do the hard work, but you will do it the correct way. You will not keep banging your head against a steel wall which is never going to fall. You have to find the right wall and then put in all your efforts to, destroy that wall and keep progressing on your journey. All right. So I can guarantee one thing, that your efforts will be on the right track. And if your efforts are on the right track, sooner or later, you're going to become that successful trader which you always wanted. Is the current market scenario suitable for trader development spectrum? If you are asking, no. The trader development spectrum is not about the markets. It's about you. It's about your development. So it does not matter whether we are in a bull market or a bearish market, whether there is going to be an election in a few months. Does not matter. It's about you. You are always going to be there as long as you are trading, right? And lastly, will it take up more of my time? Obviously. But 5 years down the line, if you're using this spectrum to match your progress against, you will understand that you have actually saved a lot of time. How? I'll show you. This is the journey you want to take, right? This is the starting point. This is the ending point. This is your objective. This is where you want to be. This is where if you reach, you will say that I have become a successful trader. Now imagine if you make a slight deviation right in your early stages, you end up being at a completely different place. Somebody well versed with geometry might appreciate the fact that this small deviation at the beginning of your career, wherever you are, can give you a big variation later in your career. And it is easy to correct at this stage. It is easiest at this stage. So if you are just starting out, I cannot congratulate enough because you are starting your journey on the right foot. But as you start moving away from your beginning, it becomes difficult to correct, to course correct, to correct your mistakes. And that is the importance of this trader development spectrum. So will it take much of your time? It will. Right now you have to put in double efforts, triple efforts, but by the end of 5 years, I can guarantee you that you would have made tremendous amount of progress, and you would be really thankful that, okay, I had this concept in my mind, I followed it, and now I have all these benefits, right? Now, where can you learn about this? Obviously, I already have 3 courses, right? But they're not structured in this particular manner. They talk about the individual tools. So I am trying to put together a course which will take you through this whole trader development spectrum. Does not matter where you are at this particular moment. It will give you something to improve on that. I don't have that course ready right now. I am not selling you something, okay? I'm just promising you that I will bring something out which will help you through this particular development process. It will be a series of small courses, obviously. And if you want to join some point in future, whenever it comes out, all you have to do is just stay in touch with me. Most of you are. But if you don't know how to stay in touch with me, I'll give you a way to do that. But before that, let me just outline whatever we have gone through far. I will be including different tools, not just market profile or order flow or BSA. I'll use price action. I'll include Elliott wave. I'll include all these tools. I will talk a lot about risk management. I will give you a way to understand yourself and develop yourself. I will help you distill your current thought process and how you can improve that and refine that. And using all this, I will help you achieve a flawless execution. I am also searching for that. I have not reached there yet. Maybe 3 out of 10 trades I execute flawlessly. What about the other 7? I am also learning. I am also refining my thought process. And that is all I want to give you whenever this course comes out. Okay, so stay in touch. The best thing you can do right now is join my Telegram channel or group. If you're already there, congratulations. If you're not, just go ahead and join it. Share it with as many friends as you can so that they can also take the benefit of this thing. If you are on Twitter, my handle is written on screen. I have a Facebook page, Get That Trading Edge. I have a Facebook group you can join, and I have a YouTube channel, Dean Market Profile. You search on YouTube, you'll immediately get it. There are over 200 videos. I am planning to post regularly now, so you will have more videos in near future. All right. So all these ways you can stay in touch with me. And whenever my course comes out, it will be splashed all over all these platforms, and you can learn about it. Right. So that was the trader development spectrum. All right.